All right, I'm joined by Jessica Walker of Masoki House. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
So, Masoki House is a somewhat new store. It's been about 2, 3 months that was open in Biddeford
Yeah.
recently. Why don't you tell me about it?
Yeah, so it's, the concept is as locally sourced as possible, and if not, at least as ethically and sustainably sourced products as possible, bedding, kitchen, skincare products.
Have you always owned a retail shop someplace like is Masoki House in Biddeford a second branch of a company you already had, or is this starting from scratch for you?
That's really a question, actually, because my mom previously opened a shop and it was kind of right during COVID. And then
Mhm.
she was like, I want to retire in 6 years. She had a lot of leftover fixtures. Um, and I thought it was the perfect time for me to take those fixtures and start my own brand here in Maine.
Are you from Maine originally?
I am not. I grew up in northern Vermont.
Nice. And how'd you end up in Maine?
Well, I have family who live here
So, in the greater Biddeford area or just southern Maine in general?
and the greater Biddeford, like
Yeah.
Arundel and Portland.
So when it came to opening up your shop, why did you choose the spot that you're in now?
Honestly, one of the things that drew me to this location in particular was I knew folks who live in the apartment buildings
Yeah.
above and had great things to say about the building owner, knowing that the building owner is somebody who's also local and would be here, doing the work, like seems to really have like a passion for local communities. It felt very safe and on like brand or ethos of the store as well. So that's definitely part of it.
Had you been to Biddeford before you opened the shop?
Yeah, I have. I live in Biddeford.
I do feel like that stretch where your store is located. So, for anyone that's listening that's familiar with the area, what are the two places that abut it? Like this is to the left of, was it Catface Cafe? But it's
I know
between,
it's dangerous because
yeah.
I've got cat face and then I've got I don't like chocolatier and
Yeah.
pastry. It's like in the best way. Yeah.
Oh, is it Edelweiss? Is that what it's called?
Edelweiss?
Edelweiss?
Edelweiss? Yep.
Is that how you say it? And then is there Dapper and Company? I think is somewhere
Yes.
around there too.
Yep. And they're right next to Masoki House, Dapper.
Yeah.
And then there's also the Sem Vine floral shop and the toy store.
Yeah.
Other places as well.
Just like a revitalized stretch of town, just like the type of shops that people probably always would have wanted to have, just like nicer things. So that's why I think it's important to spread the word on what you have over there. Those are places I drive by every day, people I know drive by every day, and they just might not realize what is over there, including your shop. So that's what I'm hoping to spread the word on. So
Thank you.
all right, if you've been enjoying the podcast, I wanted to let you know that I am a residential loan officer with CMG Home Loans. If you or anyone you know is looking to buy a home or refinance, please let me know and I'd be happy to help. My contact information is in the description below. Back to the podcast. What are the types of products that you have? You mentioned them from the beginning again, but can you start with the different types of things that you sell?
Yeah, bedding, kitchen, and skincare
Mhm.
products, sort of gifts and local artists, continuing to build relationships with local makers and artists has been really rewarding as well. With the bedding, I strive to have brands that are not just made in the US, but sourced in the US.
Yeah,
The
it truly
cotton
is.
is
Yeah.
like from the US, it's spun and made and everything. That's the sort of ideal standard, but I'm still honing in on all of the things that I want to house here.
How do you identify those things? Are there websites that help you identify those things? Word of mouth, or how does
A
that
lot.
work?
Well, I guess, yeah, word of mouth for some of the local makers, absolutely. And just trying to be in the community, like working with the Heart of Biddeford is a great resource. Also, maybe a lot of late night Googling for some of the things that might not be in Maine, but in the US.
No, I bet. What was your background before you opened the store?
Like, short answer or long answer?
No, yeah, it's fine. But I only ask because it's like, how does one get into something like this? Did you have transferable skills, or was it a totally different world that you were in before this?
I guess maybe the transferable skill
Yeah.
of being a curious person, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. And seeing that products that are a bit more natural really make a difference with like some family members that, you know, have medical things that otherwise are just like, oh, well, you're just gonna be sick, you're always in pain. Seeing that they make a difference if you have some sort of like quality, you know, like herbal remedies, and I'm like very curious, but also a healthy dose of skepticism.
Did you have personal experiences with some of the health stuff, and then trying to find products that worked well in your life, or did that happen directly with family members, or it's just something that you were passionate about without having those personal connections to?
Well, I definitely, so, I mean, I'm like, how do I say without saying too much? But when I was younger, our family was like pretty modest beginnings. We kind
Yeah.
of lived in like an abandoned house
Yeah.
for, some time. Some of the walls were just blue tarp. So it was very cold in the winter, and I got pneumonia a lot, things of that nature. But we always were kind of taught how to make something if we don't have it, and try to make it well and make it last. And yeah, so maybe that's kind of where it stemmed
Yeah.
from.
Like you
Sorry,
definitely like value
that's like a therapy
value.
session.
I know, right? Tell me more. But yeah, you value sounds like quality, healthy things, and that's the type of store you're trying to have. Where'd the name Masoki House come from? Does that mean something?
It's a made up word.
Really? Oh my god, I love it. So that's just great because I would have thought it was like something that was way over my head. It has a quality sound. It's almost like a Japanese kind of. I don't know what I'm even thinking when I first saw
No, you're not the
it.
first person to say that. Generally, whenever people come in and ask, they all have a different idea or thought behind it, which is kind of nice. It's becoming part of the point of it in a way.
Yeah,
Like whatever your home or house is to you, that's it. It's kind
it's that is awesome. I picture bonsai trees and waterfalls, so it definitely has a name that makes you think something, and I think it's great. Was it challenging to open your own business? Like, do you have a lot of hurdles doing it, or did it all come pretty naturally?
I definitely have had a lot of help. I highly recommend resources like SCORE and the SBA. They have mentorships available that are totally, free. And so that's been really helpful, as well as just friends and family help as well,
What is
just
score again?
support.
Yeah,
So it's I hope I don't get this wrong, but I believe it's through the SBA.
that's why I didn't mean to get into the weeds on it. I just it's good for people to hear about those type of resources that are out there for small business owners.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
I highly recommend it. Folks that I've been working with are just amazing. Yeah.
what's been the hardest part? Is it the biggest challenge?
Hmm. The hardest part might be just staying working making sure that I'm always utilizing my time in a functional and productive way. You know how they say like work smarter, not harder. So one of the things that I ended up doing, for example, is going from Wednesday to Sunday being open to Thursday to Sunday, because I also still work at my other job right now. It's still a new business, and having that extra day to do things like this and other things that will benefit the quality of the business.
Yeah, that makes sense. So Thursday to Sunday is the current days that
Yes.
you're open. What's the hours that you're open?
9 to 6:30 Thursday through Saturday, and then 9 to 5 on Sunday.
Love it. Do you hope to be open more days at some point? Like, do you
Absolutely.
have
Yeah.
have help? And like, I think you mentioned to me privately that you do have another employee at this point.
It's like a contract position, but yeah.
So, are you always in the store when it's
Yes.
open? Yeah. What are some of the favorite things that you're selling at this point? Yeah, yeah. Like, tell me
Um,
about it. Like, what do you got?
okay. So something from the skincare apothecary section would be like Abby's apothecary joint support oil. We recently did a meet the maker with her, and I learned a lot about what she does. She went to school for this. A family member that also came and purchased that product specifically had feedback that it helped within like 3 to 5 days.
Well, do you rub that stuff on your like rub it on your knees, or is that how
Yeah.
that works? Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Oh,
It's
all right.
an oil that you just rub. Another item from that is Elaine, or so White Pine Bath and Brew. So she's local again and makes soaps. She just dropped off some fall smells. It smells
Mhm.
so good. But I keep them in a jar for anyone who might be like sensitive to smell. She has also been working on and continues to use beer for her soap making
Really?
and using beer that's like sometimes otherwise thrown away.
Yeah.
So it's kind of within the ethos of reusing.
I want people to know what you sell. I very much think your store is the type of store that people would want in downtown Biddeford. So it's just a matter of promoting it and letting people know what's actually in there when they're driving by or walking by. They're like, oh, that's that store. And they know some of the things that you have. So what else you got?
Thank you. I appreciate that. Mal, who is the owner of Low North Collective, hand makes these beautiful totes as well as cutting boards.
Mhm.
And I think of Nibblesford, Charcuterie Marie, or something like that. When I think of these, I'm like, come get your cutting board. Made
Well,
by woman-owned business with materials that are repurposed as well. And then I also have some art from local artists, Lee Rodriguez and locally Maine, just a few prints and lino cuts.
is that
um,
a certain type of material that these things are printed on, or
yeah, it's block printing. Yeah. So that's just some of the things that I brought over.
have you ever thought about doing like a lot of that stuff? I picture seeing it like a farmer's market, obviously all at like individual stands, but it's almost like you have a lot of things that local people would sell at a I wouldn't say fair, but just like nice farmers markets or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. The concept is to grow the inventory into, really be a place where someone can be like, oh, I'll just stop in here and get this thing that I need or want. Also, knowing it's a bit more local.
I can't think of another place in town that sells stuff quite like that, at least local to Biddeford, maybe Saco. But yeah, it's definitely one of those places. If you need stuff like that, you would want it to be top of mind. It sounds like you did an event where it was Meet the Maker in the store. Do you plan to do those things every so often, once a week, once a month, maybe from time to time?
Yeah, I am currently working on getting more events lined up. I do have a event in October, a workshop with
Mhm.
actually with the artist from locally Maine.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing printmaking. Check us out on Instagram for the details.
So would you not do that in store? I'll have
Yep,
to pop in and say hello. So do you just rearrange some things to make space, or is there already enough
yep.
space? Yeah.
We'll have a little section in the back for the workshop.
Yeah. I'll make sure to share the Instagram and Facebook page and even promote
Thanks.
that's helpful because this actually won't go until maybe next week. So it'll be a couple weeks in advance of the event that you're doing. Would definitely love to promote that, but it'd be cool if you did stuff like that once a month or once a quarter, had different people in there. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Is social media a big part of your strategy? I don't know if you use it that much. I just started following some of the stuff you were doing.
I have to admit, prior to this, I wasn't really on social media that much, which I know is maybe surprise. That's been the learning curve, but making it, every day I'm learning more of like how to engage with the community through social media.
Mhm. Now, what are the main social medias that you use right now?
Mostly Instagram right now. I do have a Facebook. I'm still trying to figure out how to link it up.
I wish I could help, but you will get there.
And
What's
also
the handle for Instagram? What's your username?
at Masoki House.
Straightforward. If it was anything but that, I would be considering it's a word that you made up. If someone
Yeah,
else,
exactly.
I would think that's strange. So I'll make sure I share all that stuff too. Any other big plans for the shop, or just trying to spread awareness as much as possible? Have these events? Is there anything else going on?
We are working on a new website platform and just making sure that we're starting to get all the items online. I think it's important for the local art for folks who are maybe seasonal.
Mhm.
If they're going back home and they're like, oh, I want something from Maine, they can support it even online to get things shipped or something. Um, you've inspired me to
Mhm.
maybe look into podcasts,
Yeah, it's
but
not
that's
for
maybe
everyone,
down
and
the
it's
road.
I would have never guessed a few years ago that I'd be doing a podcast, but it's been kind of fun to meet different people. We got connected through Marty, who's the mayor in Biddeford, and he's been on a few times. We've known each other for a bit, and it's just, you just never know the people that you're going to meet. So you could interview the people that are making the products that you sell.
That's kind of what I was thinking about because some of these folks have really interesting stories, how they started, how they're now making cutting boards and things like that.
I will have to check it out. I do mortgages for a business. This is just kind of like a hobby for me, but a lot of times we have closing gifts for people when they buy a home. Cutting boards are perfect. Probably a lot of things that you have in the shop are perfect. So I'll make sure to check it out and help spread the word on that stuff too.
Thank you so much.
How'd you connect with Marty? Just him being in town
Yeah,
and
he just
checking
popped
more
by and he's so nice. I feel so grateful for him connecting us.
he's great for the city and he tries to help everyone out and make connections and help any way that he can too. So he's a great asset for the community. So
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
yeah. Well, listen, I think that that's good for now. I'll make sure to share the Instagram stuff, the event stuff, try to promote the business as much as I can. I'll definitely plan to stop by and say hello next time I'm in the area.
Awesome. I look forward to it. Yeah, that would be great.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for coming on. We will talk soon.
Yeah. Thank you for your time.